Hello and welcome back to another episode of
It's Risky Business.
A show about taking risks, pursuing your passion, and getting shit done, really. And this is why we are excited to bring guests on the show who are handling their passion, who are pursuing greatness, who are doing the things that they want to do in their life. And we have somebody fantastic here today.
A superstar guest.
Ashley, welcome to the show.
I paid them all to say
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here.
I appreciate being here.
Because we are a show about connections also. A lot of the guests that we bring in here are people from our own lives that we know or are connected to in some way. So Amanda, tell us how you met Ashley and how you're connected to her.
Yeah. I knew of Ashley. I don't even know if you know that. I knew of you.
No idea.
I knew of her.
Elusive.
Yes. Through the industry. And I don't know if you remember, but there was an opening at another studio in town.
Yes.
They were doing an opening and you walked in with Kingston, her dog. And I was like, eyes first on Kingston, as we do.
He gets all the attention.
And then I was like, who's this tall glass of water? And it was you. And we actually had a great chat. I went in there like not knowing anybody and we knew that we lived in the same building across the street. And then we saw each other almost every day at
Vice City.
Another
looking
local
for a
favorite.
coffee sponsor.
Which we say is like, I always talk about like the Cheers of Miami, like HGAB is the Cheers of studios. Vice City is like the Cheers of coffee in Miami. Like you go in there and you cannot not see somebody.
Always.
I can't get away with wearing my pajamas there anymore. I have to be fully dressed.
I know you from Vice City.
Yeah.
You just walked into this room right now.
It's the best. So yeah, I just like kept seeing you around in there. And then I got her to touch my hair last week and we got to talking and it was just total alignment in terms of like passion and mental health and like everything that we talk about. I'm like, this is a no-brainer.
It's always so interesting to see how certain people you're like attracted to a certain person.
Totally.
Like, it was always, we never had more than a 2-minute conversation waiting for our coffee. I would see your son. You would see my son, Kingston.
Yeah, Kingston and Shiloh were like the two common denominators.
Yeah, and we would like, keep on going. But it was always like, oh, I know her, but I didn't really know you.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like you were my friend, but you weren't actually my friend.
Yeah.
And then when you sit in my chair and we started talking, I was like, that's why.
That's the vibe.
And it's it's definitely an energy thing.
Yeah.
Like, that has a lot to, I feel like that has a lot to do with actually why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like the whole like entrepreneurship and like meeting people and having like minds and being able to like grow. You almost attract like what you are. And
yeah.
Oh my God.
There's so many different lanes. There's so many different like just avenues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're really touching on, attracting the type of people that you are becoming yourself a lot of times when we make some real changes for ourselves, when we pursue our passion, whether it be in work or in our personal lives, we end up meeting people that are either have done it or are doing it, which I think is super, super interesting. So this is a perfect segue because we like to have people on the show that are entrepreneurs, that are pursuing their passion and that are going after a creative passion more than anything. And have then like build a team or build a company or have their own offices, studios, whatever it may be. So what I think is also interesting is that you and I worked on a job together and I noticed that you had a team as well. So tell me about that, but also just tell me about how you even got to the point, because I know that when creatives are doing something, a lot of times it's hard for them to think of working with others.
It takes years to get to that.
Yeah. So tell me, let's go as far back as what prompted you to get into hairstyling and then how that whole journey unfolded.
Got it. So I've been doing hair actually for a very long time. I started actually in high school. I was a receptionist at a hair salon. And from there, I kind of like looked around. I was like, I kind of always was into it. I was very creative. My brother is actually an artist of like fine arts. So for me, I never touched arts. I was like, he can make hands and draw feet and do things. That's not me. So I realized, okay, I like hair. Let's go to hair. Started doing that. Realized the salon life wasn't particularly for me because I'm more of a creative. I needed more of a free thinking area. So I started getting into print work. I started doing a lot of trade for pictures when you're first starting. And then little by little, I started creating my like nucleus of, in Miami where we have no union, your little like network. And then I landed a gig on, can I say channels? On Telemundo. And I was on that show, which was what was it? Every Monday through Friday. It was actually called Suelta la Sopa. I was actually about to get off
Suelta la Sopa.
Suelta la Sopa.
Like for our
Drop the soup.
like for Spanish speaking audience members, it's let go of the soup.
Yeah. So it was definitely like super in non-alignment with me because I'm very much more of a positive thinker. I don't like talking about people, but it was one of those situations where I was like, this is my only way to be able to like penetrate this industry. I got referred. I told them that I worked for the Pieta America. That was the opposite channel and they weren't going to check. So I got the gig and I milked it for like 4 years.
Wow,
in that I
4 years.
I learned how to deal with humans. I learned how to like not get upset. My patience level went from 0 to like 3,000. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot when it comes to when you're working in that industry and when you're working with those type of people. So like that, I started kind of like refining my way of dealing with artists, dealing with different personalities, dealing with all different things, in turn, bringing in other artists because I was the key hair and I had a key makeup for that show for 3 years. So when I would leave, I would start asking for like referring people in, and like that I started creating kind of like this team without meaning to, because I genuinely have always enjoyed being able to provide. Like nobody gave me a segue in to be able to get I had to like fight to be for them to understand that I really wanted to be there, because I was the younger, I was that gringa, because in Miami where I was working everybody was Hispanic. And I'm from here. I'm Cuban, but I'm the gringa. So little by little, I started creating that, left that show eventually. And then actually the way alignment works, that the day that I gave my 2 weeks, that same day I had an email asking if I could have a team ready, which I did not have a solid team, but if I could have a team ready for another show called Pequeño Gigante on a different,
oh my gosh,
and for the entire like contestant department. So I was like, yeah, for sure. I got a whole team.
Got the
That's
team.
what's up. I got on my phone. I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. I got everything figured out. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Oh my God.
I dropped down to like 129 pounds because of like, I mean, you don't know what you're doing. It's an entire production. So that was kind of like how that developed. And then when I finally was able to get that show done, and I did it, and everybody was really happy. And from there, I was referred into like 2 other shows. I was just like, whoa. Wow. So I created the Shands crew, which Shands comes from Ashley's hands on Instagram. Nobody would put the space Shands where it needed to be. So they me thought included. My last name was Shands. I fought it for a long time.
I'm so glad this is being addressed, because I was like, am I crazy? No. Like, it's just the way my eyes read it, but that makes me so happy to know that.
No, everyone. And what was I? I was 19 years old when I started doing hair. So I was a very angsty teenager, angry and not patient. As I told you, my patience grew a lot. So I'd be arguing with everybody. Do you not see where the hell the space should be? Come on, what the hell? And then finally I was like, fuck it, it's my Sasha Fierce.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and turned it into something.
Yeah. So then I kind of just went from there, and that's how I started. Like I started working with a lot of different teams. Actually, I met 53 Films in Pequeño Gigante. And that was when we started and I think I actually got the job from them as well. So it's really cool.
Yeah, just for some context, I work for a company called 53 Films where we've worked together on sets, and that's how you end up finding out that the video production community is very, very tiny, in Miami. So, but something that jumped out at me, and something that always jumps out at me when we're interviewing entrepreneurs and business owners, is that when a situation comes up where they don't know how the fuck they're going to handle some things, they say yes. They still say yes.
My favorite thing in the world is being told to do something that takes 5 minutes. You got 30 seconds. Go. What? All right.
So you got called up.
That challenge is so good.
You got called up for a team. You were like, you didn't know how you were going to pull together a team, and you said yes.
I was 26 years old.
Oh my gosh.
I was 26 years old, and it was an entire production for national television. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I blacked out and I woke up on set,
That's awesome.
running around with 1,000 people around me, and I'm screaming at people on a walkie. I never had worn
like
a walkie. I had never, nothing.
That must be like the adrenaline, but like prolonged adrenaline for like 2 weeks just to get it
100%.
in action. What's the saying? Like, take the leap and build the wings on the way down.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's what you were doing.
And then to your point, like a lot of people don't know this, but in video production work, you're on walkies. There's a million people all doing different jobs. Everybody's running around half the time, and it's like you get into that for the first time, and you're just like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Super overwhelming.
Sensory overwhelming.
It's very, very overwhelming. And then just like anything, because and this is what I love about us human beings in general. And for those of you that know me, I love the brain. I love neuroscience. And we adapt. Our brains figure shit out. And now I'm like on set, and it's like I've just fucking in the zone. I know exactly what I have to do, and nothing freaks me out because I've been doing it. And you just learn, and you kind of adapt and figure out. So that's also important for anybody that's pursuing their passion and wants to get into a particular creative career, any career that is scary. You just gotta be in it. Give
yourself a second.
You just gotta be in it.
Pause.
And then give yourself a second to adapt and do what human beings do. You know, what your own brain has evolved to do is just to adapt to situations and settings. So
yeah, that's a pro tip. We have
pro tip.
We have pro tip moments. Ding,
Pro
ding,
tip.
ding.
We gotta get like a triangle, like a ding ding ding, or
I like the triangle. The triangle's a good one.
And then it'd be funny if like I just pull it out from the back of the chair, like,
or megaphone.
Pro tip. That's a pro tip moment.
Yeah,
allow yourself to adapt. Get into something new and don't freak out and quit. Just stay in
Stick
it
in
if you're passionate and you love it. So I would like to go back, because I know that what happens to a lot of creatives when they want to pursue a creative passion, their parents are usually like, what are you doing? You should be a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer. So tell us about your experience, if you're open to sharing
100%.
How that whole thing was when you told your parents.
That's a good one. So I grew up being told, I was bought a Harvard sweater. I remember it. A Harvard sweater at 10 years old. And I was going to be
Talk about pressure. Like,
shit. Who are you telling? So, and I was, in the eyes of my family, always, like we all say, the black sheep, or she's just a little bit different or whatever. So fast forward to me, I start college. I graduate high school, I start college. In high school, I'm a free bird, very in and out. My teachers literally graduated me because they said, we like you as a person, but we need you out of it. Like, you just don't show up. Like, we can't keep liking you. Like, you gotta go. Yeah. I'm just like, this is so boring. I can't sit here. Can I do something? Yeah. So I go to college. 3 weeks in, I'm just like, yo, I'm smart. I know I'm smart, but I can't sit here. I'm in remedial ×3 math. Wow. Because math was just not my thing. And I was the girl that, yeah, I got it. And then you get like a 20%. It's just, let me create something for you. Don't ask me like what pi is right now. So I decided to tell my mom, hey, I want to go to beauty school, because I had been working at the salon and whatever. My mom came home for 3 weeks with statistics. The internet had just gotten popping. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Statistics of how I wasn't going to make more than $28,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
That I wasn't going to make more than 20, that I was going to be in my Hyundai Tiburon that I had forever.
God. Hold on. The Hyundai Tiburon was
car.
pretty cool when it came out.
It was super cool, but that was the point. That was as cool as I was going to say. I had crashed my hoopty, and somehow we were able to put it down, and I was able to, I had a job and stuff, so whatever. But it was a whole thing. So then my dad was worse. I was going to be broke forever, never, like I wasn't going, it wasn't going anywhere. When I finished, I told him, hey, we didn't have graduation or anything back then. The school was like new, I don't know. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. So you're going to start going to college now? Like, there was not a congratulations. There wasn't shit. I want to say I started getting tattoos. Tú eres una malandra. How do I say that? I don't know. The whole artsy thing. Then fast forward. Now, ahora soy una artista. Now I'm an artist. Now this, that, the third. It's the evolution of understanding differences.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the generation before, we had to be so strong in our generation because people didn't see the capabilities that we saw.
Yeah.
Right.
Like they were cool with this and like with being at a baseline that they created, and that was that. And it's okay. That was that generation. But there was so much more for us to, and I didn't even know. I had no clue what I was going to be doing. Like I was going to beauty school, and in my mind, I thought I was going to open up a salon. You wouldn't catch me dead opening up a salon.
Yeah.
Like it's just not my thing. But it's just one of those things where the evolution of understanding, I swear, it's just something that's so insane now. I'm the freest person in my family.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was, you're going to be a slave to the salon. You're going to be working on all the shit times, but I'm doing what I love.
Right.
I'm not upset while I'm doing what I do.
Wow, that's powerful.
So there's a different view. Like, whereas like you can meet people that you can enjoy spending time with, and you guys all have the same likes. You could be on set all together and be having the time of your life, making money, being with your friends, doing what you're doing, and creating, feeding every part of what your nucleus needs. Whereas before it was, let me finish this and go home. And now I'm upset that I've been here. I'm ruining this. Yeah. Everything just sucks. You know, like that, it was something that it's like, why do you deserve to be happy all the time?
Yeah. And I feel like people who end up in jobs that are safe, pursuing them because of money or benefits or whatever it is, they get to a point where they're just kind of flying right under the radar, just doing the minimum of what they can do so that they don't get noticed for not doing enough, and they're not doing so little that they get noticed, you know, and ultimately get fired or whatever it is. And I think that that's what I love about people that pursue a passion and they evolve through that passion. And going back to what you said when you told your parents, my dad, when I told him I wanted to pursue video production, he's like, well, how are you going to make any money doing that? Oh, yeah. And at the height of my video production business, I was making more money than both of my parents combined. Combined. And then, of course, the evolution is then over the years, my dad is now like, oh my God, let me see your videos.
My son is a videographer.
You know, and then now he's like, he's got a drone and he's into flying the damn drone. So it's like, you know, and you know, and the thing is,
so powerful.
It's like you said, they don't know any better. You know, like they don't know any better.
And there was so much fear back then, right?
Like the pivot of understanding the brain. You know, like you can't expect someone to understand something they've never gone through.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the thought of having that uncertainty of you may not have a job next week, that would kill my mom.
As a parent,
that would destroy my dad. But I know for a fact from years of doing this that there will be another job.
Yeah.
And if there's not supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it no matter how it happens because you're putting it out there. You've been, you know, like it's just something I've felt that meeting entrepreneurs and people in the creative industry, we all have that extra pocket. That it's just like, we get stressed the hell out. We start doing the numbers 38 times and oh my God, what's happening? And then, all right, no, we're good. Yeah. We're gonna be fine. Yeah. Just kidding.
It makes it so dynamic.
We'll have a drink.
Yeah. It's so dynamic, like the thinking and the riding the waves of everything. Yeah. But that's why it's so important that we share the journey with other entrepreneurs. And we always talk about that. Like, being able to be with other people so you don't feel like you're on an island, like floundering.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's sometimes you feel like you're the only. It's like, fuck, I'm here. I'm drowning.
For sure, I'm the
like,
only
I'm
one.
Literally the only person that's this unorganized.
Yeah.
And then I look over and I talk to someone. I'm like, yo, you dying too?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh God, I'm not alone.
Do better next year. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's always what happens, though. We get into a mode where we're afraid of when the next job's going to come. And then when we're just starting out in the entrepreneurial journey of just kind of like being your own boss and pursuing your own projects and getting your own money, you just start to learn and realize that it's going to come.
Yeah.
You just have to trust that you are putting your best self forward.
Yeah.
And if you're really doing that, then the money shows up.
Yeah.
You know, the money shows up. You got to get organized, though. You got to get organized. But definitely the money shows up. Always. The projects keep coming. You widen out your network. And I always said this about myself. Like, I wasn't the best videographer. I'm not the best videographer. I'm pretty good. But I'm good with people.
Yes.
And I know that that's
so
a big
important.
strength of mine.
Huge.
And ultimately that's what anybody who is an entrepreneur needs to understand. Like, you need to check your ego, first of all, because you could be a badass at what you do, but if nobody likes working with you, they're not going to keep hiring you.
Yeah.
So it's a little, you really have to learn how to play the field and work with others, because it's a creative process.
All the time, 90% of what I do is not hair.
Wow.
To get myself to where I've had to become a badass hairstylist. But when I'm on set, when I'm dealing with an artist, literally 90% of what I'm doing is looking at them, understanding how they understanding how they are going to portray, like, understand what I'm saying to them, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that person has to be in front of the camera. They have to be happy about what's going on, and their image isn't in their hands. So you have to have a sensitivity to humans when you're dealing with humans.
Yeah.
And as creatives and what we do, you're literally dealing with an actual individual. People forget that there's a soul back there. That's why I've been able to be so successful.
Yeah.
Because it's the human. You learn the human and be good at your job. I mean, obviously, the guts of you have to be able to get to point A to point B, give the braid nicely. Yeah. But you have to also know that some people don't want to hear that they look good. Other people want to hear that they're beautiful the entire time. It's your job.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, your job is to make somebody like what you did, make the director like what you did, make the photographer see what's important. You have to, like, measure. There's so much measuring. And you have to give a shit about people.
Yeah.
You have to actually care about an outcome.
Yes.
That's why I genuinely feel that people that actually make it in entrepreneurs are very selfless people and are very, I don't know how to say it. My word count went to like 1 right now.
No, but you're right on. And also, something while you were speaking that I thought of that I never really considered is that, you're looking at, you're with somebody, you're like the last point of human interaction before they go out and be very vulnerable in front of a camera, in front of a whole set of people that's looking at them. So the energy exchange between you and the artist and people that you work with is very, very important.
Yeah.
I literally create like a force field around my clients. Like, it's so important. I've fought with executive producers, and I've been given you're right, my bad.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yes, you know, the hustle and bustle of all the crap, you forget that the person is a human, that the situation is happening, and you need this person to believe whatever they're reading on that prompter.
Yeah.
So if they're upset because you just told them that they look fat in the dress that they're wearing, that's trivial.
Yeah.
You need them to speak and sell whatever you're selling.
Yeah.
So shut up.
Yeah.
Like, don't have the conversation in front of the door so that she can hear her name and then accidentally make up whatever the hell she may think.
Like, so painful.
The gray area. There's so much like of that it's really why I have my job.
So speaking of, first of all, that's so amazing that you have that gift to be able to like receive humans like that and be able to give so much of you back. I mean, I sat in your chair one time and we connected super, and I felt very open to connect. And as I was sitting in her chair, I'm like, man, there's something about, I don't know if this happens to guys in the barbershop, but I think it does, actually. Isn't that the whole old thing about a barbershop? You go in there and you just like talk about life, right? There's something about sitting in that chair that you just feel like, and it just feels like a space. And I'm sure you are high level, the recipient of people just coming in there and like spewing their life out. The same thing happens when we go to get our nails done. It's just like, what happens? But we just start spewing it out. So I'm super interested in, we kind of talked about it in person the other day, but like, how do you manage receiving all that energy? How do you balance it? Like, have you had to go on a journey of like regulating yourself mentally to be able to like kind of balance all of that?
So for a very long time, I didn't, because I didn't know. I didn't know that I needed to. I didn't know that it was something that was a layer, an actual real layer that I needed to address. I started so young that it was just like, and I didn't come from money. It was 2008 when it was crashing, when I decided that I was going to go out into the world and be an entrepreneur. Welcome to my life of making bad decisions at the wrong time and figuring it out. But it's more of, I realized that first it was compartmentalizing, like being able to go home and turn off. And I was able to do that for a little while because I was working that show that ended, and I would do clients and then be done. Then I started started getting on my plate and more started getting on my plate. And I realized, actually, what's funny is that I've been doing this for, 13 years almost now, 12 years. And a year ago, I found yoga, which finally aligns all three of us because we all go to the same studio. Amanda just came yesterday.
First timer.
Yes. But it was, I love it.
Can we have another local sponsor? Winwood Yoga.
I mean, we have
Winwood Yoga.
Winwood Yoga. But it was something that I realized that I needed, and I don't know how I went all of this time without having. Like, I realized how off kilter I actually was because I never gave myself enough time. It wasn't something that I did. And now that I have that, I'm a much healthier person. I gave it all to my creativity. I gave it all to my job. I gave it all to my career until last year.
And you start giving it to yourself. And
now the balance has proven to make me much better at my career.
Wow.
And now the health part of it, I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I'm the most fit I've ever been. And it's been, again, the evolution of understanding. Like, you can't just give it all to one thing because the thing that's creating it is you. And if you don't give back to yourself, you're gonna collapse. You can't build a house on sand.
100%.
Like, it's you will collapse. And I was getting to the point of that, and then Corona came.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I don't need to be moving at all times, creating and like where's my next paycheck? When's my next creative outlet gonna come from? And I started finding that within myself. I started painting. I started letting myself be more creative for me, as opposed to for others, which I didn't realize I wasn't doing. Because I do hair all the time.
So it's like, that was it.
Oh, I'm doing it, and it's this is what I love to do, but I'm constantly, like you said, the energy transfer. It's I'm receiving and giving, and like receiving your shit, which I'm happy to do, but there was no release. And now it's just it's life changing.
Wow,
like,
incredible.
Being able to, the balance is very key. Like, that's one thing that when I talk to people, there's two things that I tell them. Get someone with the most ridiculous amount of hair, curly and kinky and terrible, hard to blow dry it, and be happy with a 50-cent tip. And be happy with your life and go on and be just happy that the person is happy and has a good, and you may get a referral from that, and figure out how to balance your life.
Yeah. And so my question is, because I'm sure that anybody who's an entrepreneur and is in it, who is like every second of the day focused on their work and how to develop their business and their company, when you started to put more time towards the yoga, towards the personal work, did that mean you had less time to build your business, your brand?
You became more organized with your business. It didn't absorb 24 hours a day. You needed at least 4 to be able to give yourself that yoga and take a shower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at least those 4 hours. So now where you had all day, now, I got to finish this before this time because I want to make it here. Yeah. And you finish it. Somehow you finish it. How did before it took me 28 hours, but now I'm finishing it in 12. All right.
And you're making time for yourself now too, which is
so important.
So important.
Man. So important.
And something that you said about developing other creative aspects of yourself, which is I'm a huge advocate for, because I was in my business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week before the pandemic. And actually before the pandemic, I was already feeling burnout. I was like, I can't handle this anymore. And I was using all the coping mechanisms, the whole thing.
That little monster that starts tickling you in the neck, like, just stay in bed, just stay in bed.
everything that you can imagine. And then I rediscovered poetry. So I used to write poetry, spoken word, and that is a creative side of me that had died because I was developing the creative side of me that was making money. And what I found to be so interesting is that as soon as I started to develop that creative side of me that was just for me, it just changed my world. It really changed my world. I became just... I just was able to handle all of the stresses and the difficulties of work better. Like, and I was just doing an extra creative activity. You would think it's like, I don't have time to do this. Like, I can't be more creative. And it's like, this was for me and it wasn't for money. And ultimately, it really, really, really helped me.
And it feeds the money part. You know what I mean? Like, you being creative, I'm sure, with the poetry and the writing and developing all of that, feeds your film, feeds the videography, because it's like it's all the big cauldron of crap that we need to keep cooking.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We're in total alignment. It's crazy. I feel like we all have very similar journeys, though we do different things, but in a similar industry, I feel like our paths have been very similar, which tells me that I think this is the journey of many creative entrepreneurs. And we talk about it all the time. Sadly, not that many people share their journey. So we do tend to feel like we're on the island, which is exactly what we are trying to break through, is just allowing people to have the space to share their story, to hear other stories, and know that like you just got to keep going and find the most balance in everything that you're doing.
100%.
Yeah. And so I want to get into creating a team or working with others, because I know that for creatives, it's difficult for them to release some creative control.
Yes.
Right? Whenever we're doing our creative passion, we have trouble working with others because we're like, this is the way it needs to be. I'm the best at doing it. And sometimes it's difficult to let go of that.
Very. So that was actually something very difficult for me. Very difficult for my micromanaging self. So for that first show, the reason why I became so skinny and I like got super sick was because I was so I was a newbie. So I was being over the top on everything. I wouldn't send them their call times. Like from production, they would send it to me and I would send them their own call times because I was having them come an hour early. So that I would run because backstory, the show was Pequeño Gigante, which is kind of like an America's Got Talent for kids between the ages of 6 and 11. 6 and 11 years old. So it was very difficult. There was dancing involved. There was throwing involved, like children being all kinds of crap. So the hair it was very like era. There was different things that I needed them to look like, but it also couldn't fall apart on stage.
Right.
There was no room for error. So I would have everybody show up early, do it. I would do the what is it called?
What, like before they?
Like before I would do it on. I would do it on someone. I would do the hair a trial run on my key makeup artist. Everybody knew exactly how to do every single hairstyle, and then we would go on. So when I realized that wasn't very sustainable, after the first time, it was more of like, okay, make sure that your team is as strong as you need them to be. And at the end of the day, throw your hands up and you got to do what you got to do.
And you trust them.
You have to.
Trust them.
You literally have to. I did it the other way. And you literally can make yourself crazy.
Yeah.
Literally make yourself insane. You have to just trust that what's going to happen is going to happen. And you prep everybody as much as you can and cross your T's and dot your I's and...
Yeah.
And there's like a reason why you pick those people, right? And so you also have to trust yourself. Yes. Like not just trust them, but trust the fact like there's a reason why I picked these people to be.
And you also have to give people a chance. You have to give people a chance. They're not going to do their best job if they know that you're coming in to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
And that's also something that you learn little by little, because if they know Ashley's going to come in here and make sure that this is good, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They're not going to go above and beyond. And I spoiled a lot of people in that way at the beginning of my career. So.
And this is really the art of developing people and developing teams. And this is something that I've become super, super intrigued and passionate about, because when I started developing post-production team for my video production company, at first it was the same thing. I was like, man, I got to go in and fix this. Like, but why would I want to spend time training or hiring somebody that then I have to go in and do the work? The whole point is to build a team so that you can focus on really developing and leveling up the company or developing yourself further in another area of the business, instead of just like going in and cleaning up somebody else's little mess. That wasn't that much of a mess, but only just because you're super methodical about your stuff. And I think that for me, it was like the oh shit moment was when I had an editor. I trained the shit out of her. She was really close. I saw the edit. I was like, I want to change like 4 things. But I was like, I didn't tell her. And I was like, you know what? I think it's great. You did a fantastic job. Send it. So she sent it to the client. And then I was like, man, the client's going to hate this. They're going to ask for revisions. And the client, like in capital letters, like bold, like emojis. I love it. Oh my God, it's amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm like, nothing happened.
Control.
Like, so she sent it and I'm like, wow. So then it got to the point in my business. I had a wedding video company that I started to have weddings where I never touched. I sent out a team to shoot it. I had a team edit it and they sent it and the client loved it. For me, that was like, wow, that's like really the evolution of becoming an entrepreneur, like getting into something creatively that you love and then helping to build other people within that space.
So amazing.
And then you're just kind of like now building the company. So ultimately that is really the evolution of being able to release creative control. And that's why I think it's important for any entrepreneur in any business to be able to do that. If not, you're just going to stay in it. You're going to be stressing yourself out and you're never going to really enjoy the whole reason you decided to become an entrepreneur. Exactly.
It kind of becomes like stagnant. But I think when you have a team and you can have that flow, it's like this exchange of energy. And how amazing is it when you have people on your team and they teach you something that you hadn't thought about, or they have it, like they're younger, they have a younger idea, or they're older and they are more seasoned in a certain thing, and you're like, oh my gosh.
And my favorite thing is supplying jobs for people. That is literally something that
we always talk about that.
I don't know, it just like feeds a different part of me. Like as much as I love to get referred, for someone to call me and be like, hey, do you have someone? Because it's not only are you trusting my referral, but now I can actually send out someone that possibly wouldn't have had this opportunity to begin with. Like
reciprocation.
It's something that for me it ended up filling me in a way that I didn't know even it was something. I always liked teaching, and it kind of like worked its way into. It's really cool.
Sten and I always talk about that because he and I met like 8 years or 9 years ago in a co-work. And we got to know each other just by virtue of like sitting across from each other, like burning the midnight oil editing. And which is such an old saying. It's got to be a new one. Like,
nah, but nothing works better than that.
What did I use recently? Strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah,
I don't know why the hell I said that one time.
I was there when you said it, and your face, you were like,
why did I say that?
But it works. It was good. So anyway, by virtue of just like sitting in that same space, we got to see each other's work ethic, and I brought him onto a job, like literally having never worked with him. I was just like, I need video on this cruise. It was like a 6-day cruise across the West Indies. And I'm like, he's a good guy. I think and it was so much for me to pick the team for that ship was very much about energy. Like I need to make sure who's going to be on board with us is going to be a team player, is going to be able to really provide like a great experience, and it was a lifestyle shoot.
And you picked a great team, and I'm not only saying that because I was on the team, but really everybody did vibe.
It was great. It was amazing. Everybody cried at the end, so you know it vibed. We know we vibed well. Actually, we cried at the beginning. I think day 1 we cried. He didn't. I was like, why are you guys crying? Yeah. I'm just thankful. This is strange. But then years later, he then has reciprocated. Not even years later, just like reciprocated work back to me with major clients. So it's just been like, we're huge proponents of reciprocation and team sharing and team building.
That's really the name of it. If you can't be greedy. Like, there's so much work. There's so many different opinions and views and likes and dislikes that there's work for everybody. I genuinely 100%. Believe in that.
No competition.
No. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I think there's no other words, just stupid. Okay. There's enough room for everyone.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold for you, young Ashley?
So as of right now, I've been traveling a lot, doing a lot of production. I just finished a show on the West Coast for Food Network. So it was pretty cool, totally different vibe from what I'm used to. Being on the road is crazy. So, crazy. You were talking about like figuring out what's important and what's not and all of that. That was something that I really had to learn a lot in this last production. It was insane because I was doing styling, wardrobe styling and hair.
Wow.
So you're on the road, you're looking, and you literally have there's no RV, there's no nothing. You're literally have a book bag and you're on the go. Wow. So hair, makeup, it's 115 degrees outside.
Oh my gosh.
So I think more traveling with productions on wherever it takes me. And really, I'm actually evolving my yoga. That's actually, my goal is to combine a beauty and wellness kind of thing. Because it's a very taboo thing to give a shit about your eyelashes and also want to be a yogi.
Right.
Like it's something that a lot of people don't align, and I don't feel like one should like really hinder the other. Wow. Like this doesn't make me any less deep and vice versa. Yeah. So I kind of have been playing with that idea, playing with like combining something, whereas it's more not so much like, oh, the yogi can go upstairs and get a blow dry, but more of like a center of like, you know, there's a hair salon looking down on a yoga studio, and cool. By alignment, you may possibly want to do that because you're at a place where normally is very vanity, very here, very like not as deep, and we're talking about things that are a bit deeper, but I'll give you a balayage. I'll make you a platinum blonde if you want. That's cool too, but let's go do some yoga. That's like, let's make the inside pretty too.
That's awesome.
It's just, but it takes time, and I have to still do like the teacher training, but I just feel like it's very necessary, and people don't know how necessary it is. And I've really, really realized how, because I was somebody that had been doing it without it for so long. Yeah. It's something that people need to look inside. They have to look inside if they want what you're doing outside to matter or mean anything.
That was such an incredible experience last night in yoga. We did yin yoga, candle lit. So it was like just already my vibe, just aesthetically high level. I love you. Libra, right?
Yes, all day.
Like
total
if the
Libra.
aesthetic is right, then I'm like, I can tune in. So, man, it was super powerful. Like the amount of stuff that just happened.
Isn't it crazy how she says?
Yeah.
There's like certain things that she says and you're like, how?
Yeah. Yep. The like just what happened. And I knew like just to go in open, like, and I had told you this was so perfect that we had that conversation because I needed that. I just knew my soul needed it. And that's just the beginning. Yeah. So I'm excited to see what else can happen. And I'm here for it.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Work-life balance.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I love that part of what you're developing for yourself is something in your personal life, which is yoga that you love. And I think that that is so important as we age and grow older in our life to develop a side of us
100%
that is not just work and business all the time.
Yeah. And you don't realize how much your creativity can like show in something else. Like I mean, even in yoga, I'm not touching hair. But it's movement. You're creating texture with your body. There's like, you know what I mean? I had to commit so much to make my craft as good as it is now, equally as much you're seeing it in your body. And you're making yourself healthy. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I feel so much better now than I did 10 years ago when I started when I was 19 years old. Yeah. Wow. Like that's crazy. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. And what we do is so vigorous on our bodies. Like nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about how a soccer player, when they're off season, all they do is everything therapy for their legs so that they can be optimal at kicking the damn ball. But the rest of us don't ever get a day off. We get off, we go smoke a J and drink because we need to detach from never detaching. And the only detachment is in, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have to do something positive for yourself and like actually positive, not just deem it positive because it's what you want to do.
Like, got to take care of your body. Yoga's really good. You know, something physical. Yeah, it's going on a walk.
As simple as a walk.
Outside, breathing
swim,
air.
The beach.
Swim is nice.
Yeah. So where can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
It's at Ashley's Hands or Ashley Shands. And there's no E in my name, so we don't have to put that somewhere.
It's going to pop in right below here.
Right here.
Because we have video now. We're not so sure what to do with this video now that we're recording this. Season 2 of the podcast has videos.
We're learning as we go.
Yeah. Because we're fucking entrepreneurs, all right? And we're like, let's do video.
And if you guys hear me doing this whole thing, it's because I suck at the microphone.
We took the leap and we're building the wings on the way down through this podcast.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Thank
Perfect
you
alignment.
For dropping just the experience and the knowledge bombs. And to recap, the pro tip is...
Oh, Lord.
I knew I was going to stump you. I knew I was going to stump you.
It was your pro tip, though.
I know.
Teacher.
I'm just messing with you. You can get me
edit
next
out
time.
Edit out my lull.
I don't remember what you said. I said a lot of shit.
The pro tip is don't be afraid to get into your passion, a creative career, or anything that calls you because you don't know what you're doing. You're afraid of the people and whatever the environment is going to be. don't be afraid to do it because you're going to adapt.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do as human beings. We adapt and we figure shit out.
Don't listen to the panic in your head.
Oof.
The panic is temporary. Everything is temporary in this world, in this life.
Yeah.
All of it's temporary. You come in, you're scared, you don't know anybody. Tomorrow, you know 2 people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's actually something that I wanted to touch, that while I was on this show, this was the first time I've done both things, where I was doing styling and hair at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And actually supporting makeup. So we're on set meaning I'm at a small pueblo taco shop that has no AC. It's 110 degrees. And I'm looking at my client, and she has a piece of frizz, her sock is showing, and I don't know, like her lipstick is smudged. What's more important? That's what I have to figure out.
Yeah.
Because in those first 4 days, I was dying because I was like, what do I do first?
Yeah.
I'm used to just fixating on the hair and that's it. So now it was like, okay, what does the eye? I had to like totally delete my brain, and what is the eye going to catch on the camera?
Wow.
What is it? You know, so it's that whole adapting. By day 5, I was fine.
Yeah.
I knew what I needed. I knew on which side of my book bag was what. I was out there. I was a Ninja Turtle. I did everything, and we were out. Like, but it took those 4 days for me to like hone it in.
Yeah.
Figure it out, kid.
That's
You're not
awesome.
going to die. But I was dying for those 4 days.
Yeah.
It took me a second, but then I knew in the back of my head I was going to be fine.
And now you feel like a fucking badass
Now
because you've
put me
done
on
it
the
all.
road. Put me on the road.
That's awesome.
We're good.
That is awesome.
Because we adapt, baby.
Yes. That's the pro tip. Adapt.
Adapt.
Adaptability. We're going to call that. That's going to be episode 2. Adapt. Here.
All right. So that's our show for today. Any closing remarks, Amanda?
This was amazing. I'm super, super, super thankful that we connected. And just as the way you started the show, like there is a reason why we locked eyes at the other studio and through the coffee shop. And we have to really trust that energy. Like we have to really, really trust when we're connected to people and nurture those relationships.
100%.
So much good gold at the end of the rainbow there.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Like, subscribe,
Right.
and what else do we do? And share.
We don't even know what's going
We're
to be
new
down
YouTubers.
here.
Is it going to be here? Is it going to be there? Is it going to be up there?
Right up here.
We're going to do all of them.
All of them.
So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this show. And I hope that it inspired you in some way, because the thing that keeps me up at night is thinking that there are people out there with this talent, with this passion, with this gift inside of them, and they're not pursuing it in any way because they're afraid, because their parents are telling them that it's not going to make them any money, because their friends are talking shit about whatever it is that they want to do. And this is why it's important for you to just believe in yourself and believe in what is possible. And my advice to anyone that wants to pursue some creative passion, don't ask people that are like in 9-to-5s and hate their jobs, because they're not going to have any good advice for you at all. Ask some people that you probably don't know but see are doing it, are like actually building their own business, pursuing their dream, or have seen some successes. Message them. You would not believe how much people are happy to share their story with you that are successfully pursuing their passion. They're not going to see you as competition. They're not going to be threatened by you. They want to help you. They want to share their story. So I encourage you, we all encourage you to pursue your passion and to not be afraid to take life and just make it fucking awesome for yourself.
That's right. Make it fucking awesome.
Peace.
Woo!